Hey, welcome tonight to welcome to All Things Business Book Review, Outwitting the Devil. And tonight you're in for a treat. Tonight we're going to the summary of the book. We have been having so much time with this book. We really enjoy it, and we hope that you guys have as well. And if you haven't, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, please. Leave a comment. We love comments. And also send this out to several people. So let's get into it tonight. Outwitting the Devil. This book, we've been going through 3 chapters at a time. And tonight we're doing the summary. And before we get our guests on here, I want to talk about something that Napoleon Hill said. Actually, Outwitting the Devil is by a man who broke the devil's code and forced him to confess. And if you haven't read the book, read the book, and the audio is just amazing. And tonight with me, we have a couple people that's going to be joining us tonight for the summary of the book, which I'm so excited about. From Sacramento, California, we have the great Miss Kathleen Williams. Okay. We also have there she is. There's a beautiful lady from Sacramento. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Mr. Thomas. Thank you.
I know you're itching to get into the summary tonight. I can't wait to hear your comments on it. We also have Ms. Rutherford, also from Ohio. Good evening.
Good evening. Happy to be here.
Good to have you on the call. We also have Ms. Jackie Black from Connecticut.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Ms. Jackie Black. And from the great state of California, Fresno, California, the one and only Mr. Harrison Mills.
Hello, good people.
How you doing, sir? Ladies?
Awesome.
Hey, great. Well, we're going to go into this tonight. I want to, first of all, talk about one of the authors of the book, Sharon Lechter. And Sharon Lechter used to be part of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad organization. And she also co-written this book, but she also had something to say. I want to start off with a quote she said. Outwitting the Devil is the most profound book she has ever read. And I think that is a lot to say about the book. And before we go into the book and the chapters, I want to give everybody a little bit of history on the book. The book was written in 1938 by a master himself, Mr. Napoleon Hill, and his manuscript was locked away and hidden by the Hill family for 72 years. Why? Because they're frightened by the response that it might have provoked at that time in history. And Hill's courage to reveal the devil's work around each of us, each of our day, in the churches and the schools and in politics, threatened the very core of society as it was known at that time. And that's why it was locked away for 72 years, because people might not have been ready for this book. And I really want to thank all of you guys and ladies on the call tonight. So I'm going to open it up and get a summary out there. Chapter 1 was my first meeting with Andrew Carnegie. Chapter 2, the world is revealed to me. And the book is just beautiful chapters. And I want to open it up by getting a little bit of opinion of Miss Kathleen Williams. I know you went with us the whole course of the book. What did you get out of the book, Outwitting the Devil? What did you get out of the book?
One of the biggest things I got is we control our own mind. And as long as we control our own mind, the devil doesn't control our mind for us. The other big thing I got out of it was the fact that this book is as relevant in 2025 as it was when it was written. Mm-hmm. The economies are approaching the same. And whether people realize it or not, there's a lot of educational material in this book.
Educational material. So give us an idea, one or two that you got out of the educational material of the book.
The educational material I got out of the book was, one is that Napoleon Hill, in his summary, admits that he drifted throughout his life. And also he brings out a couple of examples of how people like Roosevelt didn't drift his first term, but drifted very bad the second term. And to me, that is educational, just to know that it isn't the ordinary everyday man and woman that can drift, but highly educated, highly thought of people.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. But that's a good insight, you know. And I was looking on page 12 how defeat was converted into victory, and then even leaders drift. That's powerful. Thank you so much, Miss Rutherford. What would you summarize the book? What did you get the most out of the book, and what did it do for you?
Well, Mr. Thomas, it helped me to overstand my other self. It also helped me really realize what was drifting and why we all do it until we know what it is that we do. This book, as Catherine, really reiterated of being uh, well put together. It was fluid, easy to track of, and there's just so many points that but I don't want to take up the whole period of time.
Well, thank you, dear, for that. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you guys are getting into the juice of this. You might want to text a friend or two while you're watching this to have them join. I just had a friend of mine right before we started out in Georgia sign in to watch us tonight. So you might have some friends you want to let them know about getting on here currently because we're live. So with that said, Miss Jackie Black, what did you summarize out of the book? What did you get out of these beautiful 12 chapters?
Well, this was some book. This was one that I had to read a couple of times to really understand. And I felt like I was back in college reading one of the textbooks for a course. As the title says, Outwitting the Devil, the Secrets to Freedom and Success. And as I was reading the book, drifting, that was a big part. And I hadn't thought of that and how it affects adults, children, our society. And it just different points throughout it. I know for me, the meat and potatoes that I learned a lot from was the middle 4, 5, and 6, and 7, 8, 9, and to the end. And what I like is the definitiveness of purpose. That really stuck with me. How we have to have a purpose. And when you lose your purpose, then the adversary, he could come in. But if you stay focused, it's not so easy for him to come in. And watching who you associate with. They say birds of a feather flock together. Part of outwitting the devil. Watch your company.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And with the education, that was really interesting to me. How with educating our youth, it dealt with schools, it dealt with religion, it dealt with how do you see those seeds of fear sneaking in the education system as well, and what we can do to change ourselves, our young people, our community, but mostly looking at yourself first.
Yeah.
I don't want to take a whole lot of time, so I'm going to let Mr. Mills do his thing.
Well, I want to jump in before Mr. Mill get up here. On page 100, what you just said reminded me of what I got on page 100. It said the devil, he's responding. He says, I cannot control you because you have discovered your own mind and you have taken charge of it. See, that's how he cannot control us, if we take charge of our own mind. And if we waver or anyway, means he takes over and he gets in there. He says this defined knowledge is the blow with which you can and will deal with me the greatest damage. See, once you control your own thinking, your own mind, he says you can't come in there with that. He cannot do it at all. So he wants to be able to go after weak-minded people. So I want to add that on what you said, Ms. Black. Go ahead, Mr. Harrison Mills. What did you get out of the summary?
Really good stuff from everyone. It's really, really good things. And also, Mr. Meyer, just seeing what he put on in the chat, it's really a personal ownership manual that will span the test of time, which is so true with everything. I mean, it's just been a great study. I think one thing I will say, just for a little humor, I loved your voice as the devil. That cracked me up, every time we would go through it. So even just in the play of that, but the main thing is the back of it. It basically sums this up for me. Fear is the tool of a man-made devil. That was really the whole synopsis of this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's what we do. It's our state of mind, right? And the one thing that we is kind of incandescent for me that I love is on page 198. And I want to just sum this up, but basically saying that independent thought is the privilege, the only one privilege over which any human being can have absolute control. And that's probably my favorite quote out of this whole thing. For one, it's something that's relational. It's not mechanical. It's not something I'm gonna force hand with you, but it's something that you get a chance to choose, which I think is just such a beautiful thing along with it to remove seed of fear and replace it with a seed of faith. How far can you go? And this is basically that's the synopsis of this whole book of basically showing you how to plant seeds of faith and remove the seeds of fear.
Remove the seed. Fear, F-E-A-R, false education appearing real. It's only in our mind. 80% of things we worry about never come true, folks. So why do we worry about them? Why do we let people plant that seed of worry in us? Think about it. How many times you worry about something like it never even popped up? And then we do it again and again. See, that's how the devil controls us. With a strong mind and steadfast, he has no interest. He has no interest. I'm going to go to page 255 on the back of the book. It's in the reflection. After you read the chapters in reflection, the first sentence says, throughout Napoleon Hill's writing, there is a strong spiritual presence informing his methods and his morality. And this book has a lot to do with morality, how he tricks young people with drugs, alcohol, sex, and the list goes on and on. So this was amazing when I read the reflection. So, Miss Kathleen Williams, what do you think about that and hearing the reflection of the summary of the book?
Hearing the reflection in the book and having read it, it's very true because, yes, there is a lot that goes on, and there's a lot that people don't realize how much control they have over their own life and over their own mind. And because they don't know it and realize it, that lack of knowledge gets passed on from generation to generation to generation to generation. And the other interesting thing I found in here was the fact that the devil is talking about how his opponent only controls 2% of the world. And I sat there and thought about it and went, wow. And how he uses his opponent in a very negative way to control kids. The devil does.
Yeah. The Bible says, I'm going Bible, B-I-B-L-E stands for basic instructions before leaving earth. He says, for the lack of knowledge, my people, what? Perish. And he used that lack of knowledge. He doesn't care if you read the Bible. As long as you don't do the things. He don't care if you go to church as long as you don't hear the pastor and then do the things. He don't care about all that. The lack of knowledge and then implication of the knowledge, of doing the knowledge. That's what's important. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Ms. Rutherford, what do you got to say about that? About the reflection here of the strong spiritual presence informing him of his morality.
Well, morality is often taught not in school, but it is expounded upon oftentimes in religion. And it's the same place where they make it devil. They don't understand that you have the power, the ammunition that was given to us by the Son of Man, that I'm with you always, lets you know that you have a God force inside of you. When you're drifting, to direct your mind, Catherine said, and mastery about life.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's a good answer. Hey, I'd like to also thank a couple of people in our listening audience, Mr. Rick Kubiak out there in Hawaii. I'd like to thank Miss Janet M. in New York City, but Mr. Bob Myers out there in Reno, Nevada. Mr. Curry, thank you for joining us tonight as well. I want to ask the same question a little bit, Miss Jackie Black. What did you get out of that? What we talked about, the strong spiritual presence and informants methods to morality.
Yeah, he addresses that a lot throughout the book, because you see the spirituality, how he had said how with the church, how some churches they with the fire and brimstone, and others, having faith. And this permeates throughout each of us, whether it be in our home or our circle, whether it be on the job, it affects that as well. And I find that I went a little bit further for the morality part about with the 7 principles that were in the book, Outwitting the Devil. And those 7 principles all deal with morality in a sense, and right and wrong, definitiveness of purpose, mastery over self, learning from adversity, controlling environmental influence, time, harmony, and caution. All this is encompassed about with that.
Very true. Thank you. Wow. Yeah, thank you so much for that. That's a good insight. And I love this because I love to hear everybody's response has a little different, but it's tied together, but different. And it's amazing how we can all read the same book, but all get a different interpretation and then make it personal, what it means for us. And that's why I told our listen audience out there, get the book, read it for yourself and learn from it. What did you get out of it? Because this channel is all about learning and increasing and knowing more about who you are, to expand on that, to make you a better person. That way you can bless more people. Mr. Harrison Mills, what did you get out of that part, sir?
I think you just hit the nail on the head. Like I don't know if I need to say anything else, because I was going to go there. I'm just going to go personal. My own spiritual battles. There are what we call demons that we wrestle with ourselves. That's honestly where I was looking. I wasn't looking to see who I can help. I think it starts with first.
Mm-hmm.
We all have it first. And to say that we're spiritual beings and to live from the inside out, and the other part of it, he was really kind of showing us most of it is self-induced.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it.
We're doing it, kind of thing. But here's the other comforting thing for me. Why is it comforting to me? I don't know. But to know that pretty much every human being has to deal with this devil that we this spiritual devil. That means from kings all the way to the lowest person. And I believe it divides from mice to men. It divides those people. And few of them, don't get it, as you can see just from that. So just that state of mind of where we. So honestly, it's helped me in so much of just looking, analyzing what can I do with this area. What am I self-inducing in myself that I can get rid of, push some things out the way, I can eliminate. And that's including names, groups, people I'm hanging out with, food, all the different things that we did, exercise, my language, my vocabulary, and the way that I perceive things. So it's made me honestly look at my world and say, it's so rich. Wow. And didn't see it before.
Yeah, we get up and we don't really necessarily give an attitude of gratitude to things we have. We're looking at so much what we don't have, and every day we get up with a blessing, because we could have woke up somewhere where it's the Middle East or somewhere blown up or family's missing, but we've been blessed to have war on this particular soil. So we're so blessed.
It's so easy to look at the cracks, versus the canvas, the beautiful canvas, when you look at all the cracks that are there.
I love that. That's a good analogy.
That's a good analysis.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna continue down this on page 255, the bottom of the page. I'm gonna talk a little bit about reflection, because I'm reflecting back as the book was evolving, and he says the greatest oppression was for Napoleon Hill in great measures of moral failure, kind of like we're going through today. What would you say about our current crises in financial markets? Now, let me stop here for a second. This book came out about 2011. So they're going through the crisis as we know it. So just kind of give you an idea where it's going. What would you say about the current crisis in the financial market and near collapse of the banking system in 2008? Now, which we're right there again, okay? And the severity of recession that has affected the lives of someone who will pick up this book in 2011 and beyond. So we're part of that beyond. It's going on again today as we talk on this live call in 2025. What would you say to that, Miss Kathleen Williams?
Having lived through 2008 through 2011, I feel like I'm living through it again in many respects, but I'm living through it from a different perspective than I did then. I was seeing by 2010 and 11, even a little into 9, I was seeing, because I'm from the healthcare industry, I was seeing the negative impact of all of that was having on people's lives.
Yes.
And people not realizing that because they didn't do simple things like control their annual physicals and that, life took a nasty turn for many of them.
Yeah. Wow, that's so true. A nasty turn, which we're kind of going through again today with the way the economy is going right back to replaying. Mm-hmm. Also, before we go any further, I'd like to give a shout out to a dear friend of ours out there, Mr. Manny Peralta from New York City. Thank you for joining us tonight. Miss Rutherford, what would you got to say about that, dear?
Well, to piggyback on what Catherine just said, the last, 5 years, we've seen the Great Depression pull itself right back with high costs, high inflation, also health issues. Right today, both mental and physical. It is important that we understand why, and well, that we Earth has a definite of purpose put here by mistake, and yet we will be tested, but we have the power.
Yes.
To work.
Yeah. We have the power. That is so true. That is so true. Miss Jackie Black in Connecticut, what do you have to say about that?
Yes, we are in a crisis right now. We're in a crisis with the education system. Mm-hmm. Money is being taken away. I was watching the news today from some of the programs, and people are trying to figure out, what are we going to do? How are we going to finance this? Arts and art, one of the arts programs. Then you find with going to the grocery store, prices are going up. People are wondering, how am I going to feed my family? Mm-hmm. You look at even going to church. Violence has even come into church. People have gone in churches shooting. I've even recently here in Connecticut, someone even went to a funeral and shot 3 people. Mm. So we're seeing all this, I don't want to say devastation, but crisis is happening all over. And it happened back then too. But we have tools, as was mentioned earlier. We have Outwitting the Devil, this book by Napoleon Hill. We have people that have lived through it to say, okay, this is how we survived then. We're going to survive through this too. And not having that give up mentality, but being a problem solver, mm-hmm. keeping the purpose of, we're going to feed our families. We're going to educate our children. And not just feel I can't. We're not having that.
Yeah.
This is what I get from that. And this is what I see, even with the banking system, people not getting loans like they may want to, but still have hope. Do not lose hope. Don't let those seeds of fear creep in, knowing we're going to get through this. We're going to figure it out. You have to keep going forward. I'm going to stop there.
That's important because this book is a breath of fresh air to keep strong when society's breaking down left and right and left. As you well know, in the last year or two, how our country and different countries have changed drastically. Let's just say that. As I go back in history, I thought about a book I read called The Dumbing Down of America And it's pretty pricey. The book is a couple $100, like $300 for the book, and it talks about this stuff way before it happens. And normally they show their hand, wink, wink, before things happen. But you can also be strong and combat that by learning this, like this book has to say, how to outwit the devil. And society is running with devils meant everywhere because people are weak, and their mind gets weak. And this really helps you get strong and stay strong, so you can outwit all the chaos, if you will, that's going on in the world today. And I want to thank you all for this. This is good stuff today. I also want to thank Mr. Freddie Sherman out there in Ohio, just joined us as well. Thank you, Mr. Freddie Sherman. So, Mr. Harrison Mills, what would you have to say?
I love it. As we've said before, there is nothing new under the sun. So I guess saying this, we saw it coming, you know. And honestly, what this has shown me is showing me how to, in times of scarcity, how to throw seeds of faith. It might be the opportune time to jump on something else. While everyone's at a low or we're at a tank, this actually just might be your high. But then I might go a different way. What if the economy was doing, what if everything was going great? What if everything was going great, but yourself, your inner self is saying everything is low. Everything is, you could be going through your own world of something, you know? And so this book is kind of letting you know, it doesn't matter what the economy is doing. It's you. It's me. What kind of opportunities are out there? Like, once again, we can look at the cracks. It's good. And there's the drift. There's the drift. And it's a strong current, you know, but can you go against it? And yes, you can.
You blessed me right there, because, you know, a lot of people went through 2007, 2008, and 9. Some didn't make it, but a whole lot went against the current and made it. You all made it. We want everybody on the call to make it. This is powerful, sir. That was wonderful. I like what you said. I had to write that note down. Throw seeds of faith out there. Ooh, I love that. That blessed my socks off right there.
Yes.
Ooh, I like that. Oh my goodness. Throwing seeds of faith. Lord have mercy. I'm gonna go to page 257 in the part of the reflection on the book. The second paragraph said this: as we go forward in our lives and find obstacles in our way, it may serve you to review Hill's 7 principles for outwitting the devil in whose life? Your life, folks, in your life. And I think Miss Jackie Black talked on the 7. Number 1, definite a purpose. What is your purpose? Go back to the channel here and listen to my book. It's for free, called God's Gifts. You can also download it as well. It'll bless you. Mastery, number 2, mastery over self. You have to learn how to master yourself, because if you don't, the devil will definitely take you and master you. And when I see people with looking certain ways I just know that, anyway. Number 3, learning from adversities. Huge. Mr. Mills just talked about that. Learning from adversities. I had a friend of mine was over here yesterday, and we had a little bite to eat, and I talked about, what did you learn after this situation? Because life is full of learning. What do you learn from it? Next, controlling environment influences and your association. Who are you associating with out there? Are you around people that's going to bring you up to their world? Or are you letting people tear you down to their world? What are you doing? Are you going up or are you going down? Because George Benson said a song, nothing stays the same. Next, timing. Growing positive and rather than negative throughout habits and developing wisdom. How are you growing? Are you around people that are growing? Or you're around people that, because you're doing 2 things every day. Either you're growing or you're dying. Which one do you want? I want to grow every day, and I want to stretch myself. And also the next is harmony, acting with definiteness of purpose to become the dominating influence in your own mental, spiritual, and physical environment. So important. And last but not least is caution, thinking through the plans before you act. Successful people that are in control, always think first, not respond. People that talk out of emotions and they wish I could have took it back. No, if you think first. There's another book. The first book Napoleon Hill came out was called Think and Grow Rich. Let me say it again. It said think and grow rich. Not work hard, not respond through your emotion. It said think, which most people don't do. They want to we live in a very reactive world today. People want to scratch up certain cars because certain people come out with it. People are just reacting. No, successful people think. Miss Williams, what is your comment on all this?
My comment on all of this goes back to the very first one of the principles, definitiveness of purpose. And he adds to that definitiveness of plans. Hill has made it a point that those two are highly important, purpose and plan, because without one or without the other, you can drift anywhere and everywhere. And taking time impacts everything, especially harmony.
Yo.
And when I look at caution, I sit here and think for your plan before you act. I think about people that, well, I'm depressed, so I'm just going to go eat a whole candy bar or eat a whole loaf of bread or a whole jar, whatever. No, I'm not going to do things that are good for me because it doesn't matter anymore. And they're drifting off, not using their brain.
Wow, not using their brain. That's a good point. Thank you for that. Hey, I'd like to also thank Miss Sherry on Agape out there from Florida who just joined us on the call. Thank you, dear, for being on the call today. Miss Rutherford, what would you have to say about these 7?
Well, it's been said that 7 is the number of completion. And if you think about it, a good tradesperson normally has about 7 tools to work in any field that they're working in. And this is very applicable because if you ask a person, what is your purpose for being on this earth? You'll often get a very blank stare because nobody has given thought to why they are here, what their purpose is in life. They can teach it to us in school. They want you to be a good worker. They want you to be a mindless worker. Don't ask many questions. Just go along and get along. But when you have mastery over yourself, and then to be able to learn, my God, to be in a valley and learn from the adversity that you are dealing with, and then controlling yourself and controlling, as you said before, the people who you associate with. That means everything. I do know there is a very familiar scripture that says, bad associations spoil useful habits. The penitentiaries are full of people who had great ideas, but they just happened to be in the car with the wrong person at the wrong time, doing the wrong thing. So it is something here for everybody to learn from those 7 tools.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you, Miss Rutherford. Let's head over to Connecticut to the great Miss Jackie Black. Woo!
Oh, Marvetta, you said a whole mouthful. And I have to speak now. When I look at this, the 7 principles, I think of one word, life. In life, we're going to experience all of these principles. How we apply them, it's going to be up to us. Which ones we choose to implement, which ones we choose not to implement. Are you going to have mastery over yourself, or are you going to let someone else control what you do, what you say, where you live? Purpose. Are you going to sit back and say, this is what I want to do with my life? Or again, have someone else control it for you? It might be the devil, where you'll be drifting here and there, not knowing what you're going to do. Learning from adversity. We all go through trials. But what are you learning from them? Are you going to repeat them? Or say, oh, I'm not going to go that way? Controlling your associations. Pick who you're going to be around. Are you going to be someone successful? Or are you going to hang around? I remember in one of the previous book reviews, on one side of the street, it was different than the other side. I think Mr. Thomas, you had brought that point out. And if you walk across the street, whole different environment and associations than on the opposite side.
Mhm.
Choices. We make choices. Time. How much time are you going to give the adversary to play in your mind?
Yeah.
Or are you going to say, wait a minute, I don't know how much time I have. Use your time wisely.
Mm-hmm.
Harmony. Come on. We like to live in peace. We don't like a whole bunch of just noise and distractions. Or do you like it? Some people may. I don't know. Caution. Are you going to think through what you're going to say even on this call, this book review? Or are you just going to say the first thing that comes to your mind? Or are you going to have thought behind it? That's up to the individual. And that's what I have to say.
Wow. Wow. I like that caution, because also noise. You know, so many people have so much noise they can't hear God. They can't hear the answer because they got noise, and that's another trick of the devil. Noise to keep you occupied. Oh my God, it's time. Oh, where did time go? Noise to keep you off track. Mr. Harrison Miller, I can't wait. Look. I know you had to put your seatbelt on.
Hey, look, I'm listening to Miss Jackie Black. I can listen to her all day. I was just like, you know, just it sounded great to me. I was the conversation with you two. I was into that, but I don't know if I should add anything with this. But there's only three I'm looking at. I'm looking at the whole thing, but there's just three that really stood out to me. You mentioned a song, and what we were talking about, controlling environmental influences. Everything must change, and so it has me think about. There's a song with Olita Adams. Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. The young become the old, meaning all of this. Because what will happen? It just has me just once again reflect on self with that, and so that's what I looked at. Harmony was another one for me. Now music is a part of my background, so only time I use harmony is in that. I never thought about using it in a state of mind. Harmony. So I'm including that now into me, because I mean, when I hear someone off, I don't. It could be in the choir, and I'm just like, this is you. No, I can point it out and say you need to, even if it's a horn playing, it's like this. That one, either the reed is broken or you need something's wrong. I can fine tune it, but can I do that here? I can
Oh,
go and focus and do that same. I don't apply. I haven't exercised that here, and so maybe I have, and I just don't know it. I never paid full attention to it. So that, and then that last one, caution, thinking through your plan before you act. Now, one of my demons. Okay, here, look, I believe in retail therapy. Okay,
I know you do.
so
I've seen your trunk when you pick me up at the airport. New shoes. Every time I come there, new shoes,
so
retail therapy.
I have to think. Even today, I was like, should I get a mic? Should I not? Impulse buying. So I have to walk out of the store, leave it there, so that I can think on it to say, are you getting? Is it a new toy? Or is it? Do you really need this? You know, and is my wife going to get mad at me if I buy this? You know. So hey, I'm saying that caution gets me. So now I'm thinking harmony. When I start to go to retail therapy, harmony.
You gotta have harmony when you go home with that new shoes in your trunk.
That part.
Let me tell you something. Every time I go to Fresno, he picks up the airport. He's got some new shoes in the bag. Man, when he dropped me off the airport the other day, I said, "Oh, I took the bag out." I said, "Oh, you shouldn't have." We were doing a meeting. He had the right shoes. He left them at home. He went to the store, bought some new ones. I'm like, this guy's he's got a shoe fetish. This guy, he's got more shoes than Miss Marco. Well, anyway. Retail therapy. I can learn a new word today. Retail therapy. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Okay. I'm going to ask our guests, not the guests, but I want to ask everybody out there around the world listening today. We said this, but I wanted you to think about this. This is directed to you. Okay. You don't have to answer it, folks around the world, but this is directed to you. It says right here, in reviewing these 7 principles, you may identify and reveal what is holding you back from achieving your greatest success. Think about it. I'm going to say it again. In reviewing these 7 principles, you may identify and reveal what is holding you back from achieving your greatest success. And you know what it is. Don't answer it, but you know what it is. You know what it is. Now let's go back to our panel. I want to direct this to all our listeners around the world. Next to the panel, I'm going to go to page 258, the top of the page it says the greatest depression the greatest depression of outwitting the devil is the right message for our current times. I believe we see God's hand at work, not the devil's. I believe Outwitting the Devil was not published until God felt it was the right message at the right time. Now, for us in 2011, it has definitely made a huge impact in my life, and I hope that you will find value in it for your life. Wow. 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 And this is also said, may Napoleon Hill's word bring you hope, courage, and most of all, definite a purpose in your life. Be blessed. The great Sharon Lecter, co-founder. Miss Kathleen Williams.
This book is as relevant when it was written as it was in 2011, and it's as relevant today as when it was written. This book will be relevant no matter what year it is read or written or read or reviewed, because people are allowing the devil in at more than they're allowing God into their lives. And I look at it and go, wow, it's made an impact on me, especially the definitive purpose of my life. It's made me take a relook at what I define as my purpose with my life.
Wow. See, that's powerful, ladies. You hear what that said, ladies and gentlemen? She had to turn the camera around and look at her life and observe herself and look through the lens. A lot of us don't do that. We all need to do that to see what we can improve on. So that's not encouraging, but brave as well to say, I had to look at my life. Wow. Thank you for that, Miss Kathleen Williams. Miss Rutherford.
You know, to go along with what Catherine just said, every day we wake up, we have a purpose. Now, in my primary business, I always hear about the reason why. My reason why has changed so many times, but my purpose in life, to help others, to empower others to be their best self, it has strengthened. And this book, as she also said, timing is right. But as Ecclesiastes said, there's nothing new under the sun.
No.
And this book was written for right now. Now, the creator knew that this book was going to be more applicable in these settings from 2011, these 14 years, which is 7 and 7. Okay. And it has a very valid valuation. This book is priceless. This book ought to be read by every child in the educational system. This book ought to be on the coffee table, out as people supposedly sometimes have Bibles that are accessories on their coffee table. This book should be right there with them to help them to get the meat from the bones and be able to live their best life ever.
Wow. I like how you put that summary as on the coffee table. I love that. Very good. Wow. Miss Jackie Black. Woo, this is rich tonight. Woo.
Oh boy, I think we're all on the same page. And as both Catherine and Marvetta were speaking, and I was thinking the same about in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. If you don't
3:16.
mind, I'd like to read just a few. It's talked about, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance.
Yeah.
I could go on, but Ecclesiastes chapter 3 is
Which,
a time for everything. There's a purpose. We all have a purpose.
Yeah.
You have to discover what your purpose is. This book, I truly have enjoyed reading Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. My daughter had this book, and I said, I need to borrow your book. We're doing this in our book club. And then she said, Mom, when you finish, give me back my book. I want to read it again. I've listened to the audio. I said, okay. But the timing, I didn't hear about this book in 2011. I heard about this book 2025,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still relevant. And you have to take pieces from this book and apply it to your life. I know I've changed since I've read this book, and I keep going back to different parts, highlighting. I saw Catherine's Outwitting the Devil with the little color tabs on there. There's a part of this book. See, I wish I could highlight, but it's not my book, so I had to write it in one of these. Okay? But just remember, in this book, Secrets to Freedom and Success, you're looking at God, you're looking at the devil, yourself is in the middle. You have all these different principles that we're applying. How are you applying them? We all on this panel have learned quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Read it for yourself and see what you can learn from it. Then you can share with someone else what this book has done for you. Take your time reading it. Don't read it so fast because you're going to have to go back and get the points that apply to you and say, whoa, ouch, that's hitting it home. But only you could do that for yourself. Each of us, Mr. Thomas, Ms. Williams, Ms. Rutherford, myself, Mr. Mills, we've truly enjoyed this because we know what it's done for us, and it's brought us to a different plane now. Okay?
Yep.
What's it going to do for you? That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. We also want to thank Mr. Bree Clemens, because without him, it wouldn't be possible.
Couldn't do it.
So in other words, not only read the book, but use a highlighter, take notes, like I have, take notes. That's how you learn, over and over. And I love the dog-eared hairs back on Miss Williams' book as mine. It's just because it's important to go back. So don't read a book. Let me say this, everybody. My mentor always told me, you don't read a book, you study a book. Let me say it again. Don't read a book, you study a book. Take the time to get the gold nuggets out of it. Thank you, Miss Janet, up there in New York, Janet Mason. Lots of gold nuggets. You get the nuggets out of it. Because sometimes people say, you read a book, so what'd you learn? I don't know, I just read it. Well, what'd you get out of it? I don't know. No, you didn't. You zoom through the book. Read the book to get the nuggets out of it. And always go back. My billionaire mentor, Mr. Peter Daniels, used to take notes on each chapter and highlight it. He gave the book away, had all these notes. I was like, what do you do? These are all the books I've read. It's powerful. Mr. Harrison Mill, let's hear from you, sir.
Now, I was going to ask Miss Jackie if she would adopt me. That was good. I'm scared to say anything else after it.
Now you know how I felt before.
That was good. I guess all I can say is that it's really good to see at the very end that it's outwitting the devil, even though the devil has his play in his hand, and she sums it up. God is in control. Don't forget that God is in control, even though he has his hand drifting through, or he, she, whatever you want, however you look at this devil state of mind, that God is in control of it all. It is his timing. It is, it is supposed to be, and his time is not our timing. He looks at things so much wider than we are. Some things that could be like, I did give it to you quick, And Doris was like, why you wait so long? Those different, just in the sense of the word. So the definite of purpose for our life, be goal oriented. It lets me know there's some places in my life that I can dream again. It's okay. You actually can lift that veil. Some things you put in, you threw in the towel on some things, and it's saying, no, 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 get back in there and you run. You don't be afraid of the fire. You go through the fire. It's okay. That's the adversity. It's all right. And it just at the very end, be blessed. Be blessed. So I really just honestly just lets me know that God is in control regardless.
Amen. Woo!
Amen.
That's right. God is control. I love that. I love that. I love that. That's a great way to end this call, but I want to add a little something else on the acknowledgement. First of all, on page 259, I'm going to talk about this in the book. The tremendous number of people who played a role in bringing Outwitting the Devil to print after spending more than 70 years in hiding. So I want to say this, and on chapter down third paragraph, they want to thank Sharon Lecter for a deep passion and serving and promoting Hill's legacy, his legacy. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most profound books you can read. And business, we call Think and Grow Rich the number one business book. Number one book is the Bible, by the way, but the one business book is Think and Grow Rich. I would say Outwitting the Devil would be right next to it because they go hand in hand. And also, we'd also like to give a thanks not only to Sharon Lecter for doing this book, but also Don Green, CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, to let this book come out in this decade for us to be able to look back and say, not only was it prevalent back then, but it's also prevalent to the day. And even though it came out in 2011, it's still the thing we went through then, we're going through today. And with that said, does anybody want to close out with it? Let's do a real quick round robin for just a word or two in closing out our first book called Outwitting the Devil. Miss Kathleen Williams, just take a minute and get, in a word of closing.
In closing, I would say this is a book you need to pick up and read and listen to the audio to go with it. The audio just adds to the book.
Yeah. Thank you, dear. Miss Rutherford?
Well, the second time around, Catherine, I'm going to do exactly that. I'll listen to the audio. But I had to say verbally and publicly, Mr. Thomas, thank you so much for being obedient and choosing this particular book to start us off with, because this particular book has helped me to outwit the devil right down to today. I mean, it has been phenomenal. It's almost like I can use it as a weapon, and I thank you so much for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, dear. Wow. Miss Jackie Black.
I second what Miss Rutherford say. Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for choosing this book at this time, because this book has truly been a blessing reading it, going through it. And I recommend this to anyone, especially young people. I know I've even shared with my grandchildren, you need to read this, 14-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Or listen to it, or both, because this is something that I believe everyone needs to read, because everyone can get something out of it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, dear. Wow. Everybody can. Mr. Mills.
Hey, you all. Thank you all, everyone that had their participation from the chat. Mr. Thomas leading us the way for the people that are on here, your perspectives. It has helped me out so much. And who would have thought someone from 1883 would have this influence on me? So I'm thankful for his influence and his writing and listening to letting his dream pop up, and has blessed so many lives just because even a generation he didn't even get the chance to see. 2011, who would have thought? It just lets you know, what can I do and what generations am I going to inspire later on. That's the plan. That's the goal.
Wow, thank you. I love the little yellow ducky in your pool. He just went by a minute ago. I love it with his sunglasses on. I love it. And I mean, out by the poolside. I love it. Folks, we want to thank you for joining us on our first book, Outwitting the Devil. And I would be remiss if I did not share with you our next book, which I have right here, sir. Our book come out in June. We're going to review this in June. 10X is better than 2X. All right. 10X is better than 2X. So if you can, pick it up. We're going to come out in June, and we'll be back in June with this book. Get your copy. 10X is better than 2X by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Okay, get the book. We'll be reviewing this as our second book, so you might want to get early on, get the book, read it, and follow us. And matter of fact, don't just read it, take notes, and then read it again with us again as we go through it in the month of June. So we want to thank you on our first book review. Thank you for joining us. Please do a couple things. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please right now subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Hit the thumbs up so the algorithm can get this out to more people that it'll bless and help. Next, leave a comment below. We love the comments. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you got out of the book. We want to hear what it did, what who it affected, what you get. And also send this out. This is my personal request. Send this out to at least 7 people within the next 24 hours and watch a blessing come your way. At least 7. Okay, to 7 people. Like Miss Jackie Black said, all her grandkids are going to watch. I'll read the book, but also the audio. Just get it out there. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you. I want to thank our panel today on the summary of the book. I want to thank Miss Miss Kathleen Williams from Sacramento, California, Miss Marvetta Rutherford in Ohio, Miss Jackie Black in Connecticut, and over there in Duckland with the swimming pool in the background with the yellow duck, Mr. Harrison Mills in Fresno, California. We want to thank all you folks around the world that are watching us. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. God bless. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And Mr.